So, Mike, living back on the island now, how is it?
It's great. It's great. We mentioned it a little bit earlier, just catching up that the weather's a little bit more tame than it is out east. So, um, not complaining much, man. I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, and doing a little coaching now back at your secondary school that you grew up in. How's that going?
It's great. It's great. So, yeah, like you said, I moved the family back here. It was like a 5-year process, give or take, and it was always a dream of mine to be able to give back one day to youth sports here in Victoria, and it's just given me so much throughout my life. And going back to the school that I graduated from, Lambert Park Secondary, just helping out there part time, just coaching, and just sticking around the game. None of my kids play softball or baseball. So officially walked away from pro ball and coaching there with the Braves, and then Seattle last year. And this is my way to stick around the game and still continue to get my fix and also help out.
What is it about the left coast in Canada that made it such a baseball hotbed?
The best coast, man, West Coast, best
Yeah.
coast. Yeah, well, I think it starts with guys like Larry Walker and Morneau and those guys. I know that obviously some big guys have come out of the East as well, but just overall, I don't think it's like where did the best players come from or anything like that. I'm just glad to see the country as a whole grow with the product in professional baseball. And I think it starts with guys like Larry Walker, Dempster, obviously Fergie Jenkins, kind of the OG of Canadian baseball. But just essentially, those were the guys that really showed me that, hey, there's a pathway here. Even being from Canada and playing 3 or 4 months out of the year compared to, the rest of the states where you can play all year round. And those were guys that I certainly looked up to when I was growing up.
Yeah, and you repped Canada quite a bit. You were an Olympian in '08, and again at the WBC. You were on the All WBC the team in 2013. It had to be a thrill of a lifetime, I would imagine, to suit up for Canada.
Always, always. Yeah. Whenever I got the call from Greg, it was zero hesitation on my end. Um, you know, it's the best way I can put it is it's an honor, right, to represent your country. And that's the epitome of competition when you get to really put Canada across your chest. You're no longer ever really supposed to be playing for the name on the back of the jersey, but really representing the name on the front. And, I've never been more proud to be Canadian than wearing that Baseball Canada jersey.
You had like the clutch gene, man. Like you were great in that WBC. Had a couple of homers in your Olympic experience. I remember in 2016 with the Jays, like it kind of felt like you were the only guy who had the bat going, or one of the few that had the bats going. What was it that you found a way to clutch up in some of those big moments?
Not, I guess, not, just trying to, it's a great question. I guess trying to, take like every other game. But like I said, there's something about wearing that jersey and really being proud for representing where you come from, right? And playing for Toronto was a dream come true of mine, and really representing Canada's team. And it's a lot of fun to see what they're doing currently, and can't wait to see what the registration rates look like throughout the country with all the success. And now more than ever, where you have access via social media to some of your favorite players and some of these superstars that are really allowing you to, you know, sort of come into their personal lives and see what they do and really interacting with fans. So I can't wait to see how many more youth kids sign up and register. And other than that, I can't say enough about what it really means to me. And I think I can speak on behalf of all athletes when they, not just baseball, not just from Canada, but where they really represent their country. There's that sense of pride that I think elevates their game to the next level.
You just mentioned the Jays and the playoffs and what it could mean moving forward for Canadian baseball. But as a longtime Mariner and a Blue Jay, like, was it weird watching the Jays and Mariners in the ALCS? I mean, it was an epic series, but was it? What was that like for you?
Really good baseball to watch, man. A lot of fun. For me, I describe it sort of like a win-win. I was working for Seattle last year as the outfield base running coordinator. So,
Yeah,
I had a good talk with a buddy of mine, Luke Wilson, and also a big Seattle sports fan, right?
yeah.
And so I'll be honest with you, man. I was pulling for the Mariners. I really was. But I wasn't sad to see anyone lose. And then obviously when the Jays moved on, I had my Blue Jays hat on and my fan gear on, and it was hard not to be, man. Like just talking to my neighbors, and I I tell them I can't remember the last time I was so glued to the TV watching a baseball series. And
Yeah.
normally baseball would be on in the background, right? But for that series, I dropped whatever I was doing. That was on my schedule, whatever night it was on. I worked around the games because I couldn't wait to watch.
Yeah, and I mean, you experienced it as a player, but like the Rogers Center and just how the city comes alive in the playoffs for the Blue Jays, it's just it takes it to another level. What do you remember about playing in the postseason with the Jays?
Best fans in the world. That place, when I say it was rocking, literally you could go in there, and I've said it to numerous people that the I will always call it the Sky Dome, right? But the Rogers
Yeah,
Center was literally shaken. It really was. And you talk about home field advantage. When we had that place packed, and we were going on a run there about the end of May, early June ish. The weather started turning. They were opening the roof. We went on a run, and slowly but surely, we started selling out the place. And literally from July through September and then into the playoffs, that place was sold out. And it was so much fun, man. And no matter how I was feeling, I'll never forget it. No matter how I was feeling, how banged up I was, I found a different gear. And all of a sudden, when I stepped out onto the field in front of those fans and how loud they were, the adrenaline would kick in every night. And I'd find a way to get it done.
remember you're one of the handful of Blue Jays that's had a hat trick of homers in one game at Camden Yards against the Orioles. Two of them were opposite field as well, so you showcase that opposite field power. Is that a day like you just like the ball looks like a beach ball as it's coming in? Like how would you describe being in the zone like you were on a three homer day?
Yeah, like you said, the game just feels slow. The game feels slow. It's like in slow motion. The ball looks huge. I always really enjoyed playing at Camden Yards. And, every time it was one of those stadiums where I'd check the schedule to see when we were heading in there. And whenever
It's a
we'd leave,
bandbox.
wherever we were on the flight heading into Camden Yards, I knew I was good for usually a couple homers throughout the series. I think that was
Yeah.
just my confidence would grow every time, but to do it all in one game was pretty surreal. And looking back on it, I know I just missed the fourth there where I flew out to the warning track at the wall. But
Yeah.
that's one of those games where like once it's over, you look back and you're like, wow, that was pretty special. But when you're in the moment of it, just taking it AB per AB, and I felt like no matter how hard the guy was throwing that night, the game was just slowed down for me.
Crazy. It's it's when you can see those kinds of games, and yeah, you flew out to the track. Would have been up there with Delgado as a four homer night. Spring training's ongoing right now. Do you remember your first spring training? Was there like a welcome to the big leagues moment for you?
Uh, yeah, my first big league spring training actually was when the season after I got called up. So I had never experienced a big league camp before.
Okay.
I got called up in the middle of 2009, and then my first camp was 2010. And first time stepping into the big league clubhouse in the spring training facility. But my first like sort of welcome to the big league moment was the day I got called up. It was a day game the following day, and I got the word at like 11:30 or midnight after a game down in AAA. Luckily, it was just up the road there in Tacoma. But I walked into the clubhouse, and I obviously got there super early. I couldn't sleep the night before, and sitting across from me was Ken Griffey Jr., and that was sort of my welcome to the big leagues moment.
Yeah.
And he was a guy I idolized growing up. And I tell this to everybody that, there's far and few between players that we know and we can remember for what they did on the back of their baseball cards, their stats, and obviously the Hall of Famers, right? But I tell everybody that he was an even better teammate and better person than I could have ever imagined.
I bet the start of spring training is exciting and it's fun to see all the boys again, and then it can start to be a grind. Does it start to be a grind as the month goes on?
Yeah, like the joke is that you're only 100% day one of camp, and then as soon as day one's over, all of a sudden the body starts hurting again. like, you know,
Yeah.
all that kind of thing. But no, spring training, especially when you've been with a team for a while and you know your buddies, and if you go on a run like say the Jays just did, I can guarantee they sort of look at it like unfinished business, and I'm sure after they, all went to the beach after the season was over, the playoffs were over. They rested, they spent some good quality time with their family. I guarantee once the new year hit, they were itching at the bit to get back down to Florida, and it's definitely really exciting. It's really exciting, especially if you haven't been able to play outside for a while, to get the ball rolling. And opening day is something that it's really hard to describe to anybody who hasn't experienced it before. But it's that time where you've been thinking about it as soon as the calendar year turns.
Before we let you go, the WBC is upcoming. I know you're one of your teammates, James Paxton, Big Maple, is he's going to get back out there on the mound for Canada. You think he's still got it in him?
I love that. Oh yeah, oh yeah, and I'm sure he's going to come up in a big spot too, and just remind the world how talented he really is. I got a chance to talk to him at the Baseball Canada Awards banquet in January, and he's super excited about it, as he should be. Again, one last chance. I describe my own career as it started with Baseball Canada as a junior player, and I got an opportunity to represent Canada one last time at the Premier 12 in 2019 when we went to South Korea. And it was a storybook ending for me to start my career wearing a Canadian jersey, to finish it wearing a Canadian jersey. And I can guarantee you he's feeling the same way. So I think he's going to step up in a big situation.
That's awesome, Mike. We really appreciate the time. All the best, and keep enjoying the best coast.
All right. Yeah. West Coast, best coast, baby. All right, man. Good talking.